But all right, moving on. That's our Newsflash segment. And we up next, Adrian, we have your segment. Your segment is Hidden Gem.
Yep.
So the Hidden Gems, these are characters that they've not really got a lot of shine on the big screen, right?
Mhm.
They're kind of, I wouldn't say really obscure. They're maybe forgotten about characters,
Mhm.
right? Because we've had Captain Marvel's Binary on here.
Right.
We've had, you mentioned Alpha Flight. We had the Guardian.
Right.
We've had Nova. We had Constantine.
Firestorm.
Firestorm was last week. Doctor Doom. So like,
Yep.
Doctor Doom's a very popular character.
Right.
But notice, when's the last time you've really seen him in anything big, major?
Right.
So that's what the Hidden Gem is, essentially. So, Adrian, Hidden Gem, who do we got this week?
All right. So this week, we have talked about superheroes. We've talked about supervillains. We've talked about godlike characters. This week we're going to talk about monsters. The hidden gem this week is actually what actually got me into Wolverine.
Okay.
So one of the first covers or images that I saw of Wolverine was when he was fighting this character. And this character's name is Wendigo.
Mm.
And Wendigo is a Canadian-based mythical creature, and he is born from anyone that eats of human flesh in Canada or upper Northern America. They are taken over by this Wendigo spirit, and they turn into this beast. This beast is not unlike a werewolf, but it's more severe.
Yeah.
Think of werewolf on steroids. It's taller, it's faster, stronger, so on and so forth. So this Wendigo, so the first cover I think I saw was Wolverine and Wendigo going at it.
Yeah.
And that's actually what attracted me to Wolverine, and I followed him. And, of course, Wendigo was just kind of a one-off thing.
Got it.
But Wendigo has also fought Alpha Flight, also fought Hulk. So he's kind of popped around, and because he's a beast per se, he doesn't have his own comic, but I mean he's appeared in quite a few things.
Yeah.
So very tall. Some say up to 15 feet, or at least 7 feet or taller. Very strong. That's a range too. It's been, he can carry a couple of people through the snow, but also up to like 75 tons.
Okay.
So lifting, so almost like Cyclops level, not Cyclops, Colossus is from the X-Men.
Yeah.
Strength level. His feet, the claws on his hands and feet are strong enough to actually hurt the Hulk, to actually tear through the Hulk's skin.
Wow.
Which is usually only reserved for adamantium,
Yeah.
Wolverine's claws, right?
Yeah.
Very fast. Some got him running up to, over 100 miles an hour, and some just say he can move faster than, the human eye can follow. But so these are humans that were, again, once you eat flesh in the Canadian wilderness, you are taken over by this Wendigo spirit, and your human part goes away.
Yeah.
So eating of flesh makes the transformation, and then you only crave human flesh after that.
Wow.
So you just basically roaming through the woods, the Canadian wilderness, hunt for people to eat, kind of a deal.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring him up is because I haven't seen him in anything. I haven't seen him. I'm not saying he's not been out, or it hasn't been out.
Nothing live action.
Yeah. Nothing live action, nothing in print even, and for me, probably 20 years maybe. But a very formidable character. And I just think he's interesting enough because of who he's even fought, because we talked about Alpha Flight a few weeks back.
Yeah.
He's fought that team. Snowbird, also part of Alpha Flight. Like I said, the Hulk, and also Wolverine. So I think he was also drawn by the art, is also what attracted me, because he was part of a John Byrne's portfolio.
Okay.
So that also got me. So Wendigo,
Nice.
Canadian mythical Beast. I think they could, I think he could be like an antagonist in an upcoming movie for somebody.
Yeah. Well, when you're explaining him, it makes me think of that show, the one-off that Marvel did, the black and white one. What the hell is it called? Something by Night. Where
Werewolf by Night.
Werewolf by Night. Yeah.
Yep.
You seen that?
I have not.
Yeah.
I have not seen that. I saw it. It was in black and white. I couldn't force myself. It was kind of like watching Moon Knight.
Yeah.
I still haven't got past episode 2 of Moon Knight.
Oh yeah.
So it's just kind of it just struck me as initially hard to watch.
Gotcha. It starts off a little slow. It's enjoyable. I mean, I will watch it again just because I don't remember everything about it, but it reminds me of some of the I mean, even the werewolf and that, some creatures, like it would fit well with those types of characters. So to your point, I think it could be pulled into live action. And I think what's interesting about it is, like, I've heard of Wendigo. I've never read any of the comics. I know that he fought Wolverine. I've definitely seen that comic, never read it. But I think what the interesting part about this character is it's based off of a real, like, urban legend, right? Like, and I think that's what's cool about, like, and I don't know if DC does much of that. I know Marvel does, like, Thor and the whole Norse mythology, they play into. So I like that aspect of Marvel Comics where they pull in, like, real life urban legends, real life beliefs, fictional gods or whatnot.
Right.
So I think that's pretty cool. But I would definitely be down with seeing this character somewhere. He has been in a handful of video games. So
right.
I also remember him from one of the Wolverine games. I want to say maybe the X2 game, which was like an early, probably PS2, PS3, something like that. But I remember fighting him in that, which was pretty cool. And I did read that he was in a few, like, one-off episodes of some animated shows, like Wolverine and the X-Men. I guess there is an episode of Wolverine versus the Hulk, and he appears in that, and then a couple of Avengers shows. But it's just like a one-off thing. They've not seen much of him.
Right.
Now, in the comics, is it one particular individual who becomes Wendigo, or is it different, depending on the story?
Well, initially when it first came out, it was only one Wendigo at a time.
Okay.
So if one person ate of human flesh, that person became the Wendigo, and there was no other. And then at some point they switched it to where there was like a whole tribe of Wendigo. But basically what happens is, so eating of the flesh turns you into the Wendigo. If you could somehow get the heart of a Wendigo out and you ate the heart, then you can also become the Wendigo.
Okay.
So it was only, when I started reading it, when I first read about him, it was only one. So it's not any particular one, particular person.
Just one at a time.
But it's just one at a time.
Yeah.
And eating of the flesh is what starts the transformation.
That'll do it.
The other thing is that I left out is about his durability. So he's basically has like Wolverine kind of healing factor.
Yeah.
But besides the fact that his fur, protects him from the Arctic weather and makes him very durable and all this other kind of stuff. So I mean, it's said that you could basically pull his heart out and he would still survive. He survived like decapitations, things like that. So very durable, very formidable opponent in the Marvel universe. And I also agree with you that Marvel goes into other myths, Norse mythology, Greek mythology, Indian, African. This was the Algonian. Algonquian. I'm definitely.
I know the word you're trying to read, but I don't know how to pronounce it either.
Right. So I'm definitely butchering that, but so forgive me. But it's based on. I'm assuming they're Indian.
Yeah.
So it's based on a Native American. Not Native American, but a Native Indian tribe legend. So, and I love the fact that they delve into all these other things. They bring up all these different, types of things. They pull from an entire multiverse of characters to put into that comic. So I love that about Marvel.
Yeah, absolutely. What's funny is I read that the Algonquian, however you say it, people include and have included historical populations in Mohegan of Connecticut, of all places. Yeah, so
Very
there's
nice.
a casino right up the road. Then,
Right.
you know, yeah, and some in Mass. So a lot in this area, New England and stuff like that. But yeah, I agree. I love the fact that they pull from all these different mythologies, and I think, I mean, you know, both DC and Marvel have their strong suits. I think that's one of the things that Marvel really does well. And then we've talked about this before. I love how DC creates a fantasy world with these, you know, Gotham and Metropolis and what's the damn city? Flash? I don't know, Ezra City or whatever it's called.
Right,
No, Central
right.
City.
Central City, yeah.
Not Ezra City, but yeah, you know. So they both have their strengths and weaknesses, but I definitely like that about Marvel. So hey, Wendigo, that's a hidden gem. Now he fought Wolverine. Who won in that comic? I'm assuming Wolverine.
I forget who won, but I mean, there was no death or whatever. But I think he just kind of like went off into whatever.
Someone will correct us in the comments and tell
Right,
us who
right.
won. So cool. All right. Well, there you have it, Wendigo. Now, Adrian, I told you I was going to have a new segment ready, right?
Yeah.
And this is we'll be straight up with you guys. I did not discuss this with you. I didn't tell you about this outside of what you heard a few minutes ago.